On our wedding anniversary, my husband, who always pretended to be broke, invited all our relatives and friends. Right there, he presented me with a multi-million-dollar mansion and revealed his identity as a billionaire. He said with emotion, "Honey, I've been deceiving you all these years just to find a girl who loves me for who I am, not my money, and you're that girl." Everyone was moved to tears by our fairy tale romance, praising me as the luckiest woman in the world. Only I, the protagonist of this story, cannot laugh. For I knew all along that he was wealthy. Approaching him, marrying him, advancing step by step, all were my calculated moves. Honey, I've been deceiving you all these years just to find a girl who loves me for who I am, not my money, and you're that girl. My handsome husband, Asa, held my hand as he made this heartfelt confession beneath the dazzling crystal chandelier, addressing the entire hall of guests. Behind him, a giant screen played a slideshow of our poor moments together, from first meeting to falling in love. The leaky roof in our rented room. His hands, roughened from brick carrying at construction sites to buy me a birthday gift. The sweetness of sharing a single bowl of instant noodles. The relatives and friends in the audience, especially my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, were now weeping uncontrollably. I knew it all along. Grace is a good girl. She didn't marry our Asa for his money, my mother-in-law said, clutching a tissue with a look of relief that finally, the ordeal was over. Oh yes, yes. My sister-in-law is truly remarkable, unlike some women these days who only have eyes for money. Kitty chimed in, her gaze like a poisoned blade slicing through me. I played along, lowering my head and letting my shoulders shudder slightly, feigning speechless emotion. Out of the corner of her eye, she shot them a cold glance. Just a minute ago, my mother-in-law had tugged at my sleeve, scolding me in a voice only the two of us could hear, "You bringer of misfortune. If it weren't for you, would our Asa have to pretend to be poor and suffer so much?" Kitty, while handing me champagne, accidentally spilled it all over me, then mouthed, "Bitch. Now they're crying over my greatness and luck. How ridiculous." I sneered inwardly, yet managed to squeeze out 2 tears just in time. Looking up, I gazed at Asa with eyes brimming with devoted love. "Honey," I said with heartfelt sincerity, "whether you have money or not, it's you I love." Asa pulled me into his arms with such passion, whispering a promise in my ear, "Honey, I'll never let you suffer again." Applause erupted around us. Everyone was deeply moved by this meticulously staged drama of true love. Only I knew the truth. I was the director of this entire performance. Asa, the son of Haicheng's wealthiest man, remained elusive and reclusive, never making public appearances. It took me an entire year to piece together his identity, preferences, and the location where he was experiencing the hardships of the common people through scattered clues. Then, I orchestrated one ingeniously staged encounter after another. Make him fall for me, this ordinary girl who's pure and kind, untouched by money. Now, I've succeeded. I've finally become his wife, a woman about to possess untold wealth. This 3-year-long charade has finally come to an end. I'm the one who deserves the loudest applause. After the banquet ended, Asa took me back to what he called home, a multi-million-dollar mansion perched atop a mountain, overlooking the entire nightscape of the coastal city. He embraced me from behind, resting his chin on my hair. "Do you like it?" "It's too precious." I turned around, my hand brushing against his cheek, a hint of unease in my voice. "Silly girl, what's mine is yours." He kissed my forehead. "You've endured so much for me, you deserve this." I nestled obediently into his embrace, my mind racing with calculations. I staked everything on this marriage. Now it's time to reclaim my wager. The next day, mother-in-law Elma showed up with Kitty, her younger sister-in-law. Under the guise of helping me get acquainted with my new home, they were actually here to lay down the rules. "Grace, now that you're part of our family, there are some things I need to make clear to you." Elma sat on the expensive European-style sofa, elegantly holding the top-grade black tea the maid had just served. "You must stop associating with those penniless friends of yours. It's embarrassing. And that job of yours paying a few thousand a month, it's time to quit that too. A daughter-in-law of the Jiang family doesn't need to be out in public." Kitty chimed in from the side, exactly, sister-in-law. You're a billionaire's wife now. Still hanging out with those people? Aren't you afraid of lowering your own standards? As she spoke, she cast envious glances around the lavishly decorated mansion. I responded meekly, Mom, sister-in-law, I understand. But inside, I sneered coldly. Sure enough, their true colors showed so quickly. Before the wedding, they nitpicked and criticized me relentlessly. Now that Asa has laid her cards on the table, their attitude toward me has shifted from contempt to a different kind of oppression. Think they can turn me into a canary that can only cling to their family? Think again. Oh, right, Elma set down her teacup, as if suddenly remembering something. Have you talked to your parents about this? My heart sank. Not yet. Then don't mention it for now, Elma commanded, leaving no room for argument. Wait a while. When the time is right, Asa will explain it to them personally. So they won't jump to conclusions that you've hooked up with some rich guy and are trying to milk him dry. Our family can't afford that kind of embarrassment. Those words were so cruel and vicious. What did she take my parents for? I clenched my fists so hard my nails dug deep into my flesh. I understand, Mom. Kitty watched my restrained expression and smirked smugly. She suddenly stepped in front of me, affectionately linking her arm through mine. Sis-in-law, don't blame Mom for speaking her mind, she's only looking out for you. Look at your outfit, it's last year's style, isn't it? Come on, I'll take you shopping. A lady of our family can't be dressed so shabbily. Without waiting for my response, she pulled me out the door. In the mall, Kitty strutted like a proud princess, leading me through the luxury boutiques. She casually picked up the latest handbag and told the salesperson, this one, and this one too, wrap them both up for me. Then he turned to me and kindly suggested, Sis, pick a few for yourself. Don't be shy, my brother's got plenty of money. The salespeople eyed my plain clothes with subtle disdain. I gave a faint smile. No thanks. My bag still works just fine. Kitty looked as if she'd heard the biggest joke in the world. Sis-in-law, do you think we're still back in the old days? Stop acting like you've never seen the world before, you're embarrassing my brother. Her voice was loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. In an instant, all the spectators' eyes turned to me. The color drained from my face as my hands, hanging limply at my sides, clenched tightly. Just then, a gentle male voice sounded behind me. I actually think my wife's thriftiness is a very admirable quality. Asa appeared behind us without warning. He walked over, naturally wrapping his arm around my waist, his icy gaze sweeping toward Kitty. My wife. I decide what she wears. It's none of your business. Kitty's face instantly drained of color. Brother, I didn't mean it like that. I just wanted sister-in-law to. Shut up. Asa cut her off coldly. Grab your things and get out. Kitty shuddered in fright and scrambled away, practically crawling as she fled. The sales assistants around us were too scared to utter a word. Asa no longer looked at them, instead lowering his gaze to look at me gently, as if the person with the powerful aura and icy stare moments ago wasn't him. Are you scared? I shook my head and buried my face in his chest, my voice tinged with a hint of tearful resentment. No, thank you, honey. He patted my back tenderly. If they ever dare to bully you again, just tell me. I leaned against his warm embrace, yet my heart felt like ice. Asa, you acted so convincingly. So convincingly that even I, the director, could barely tell the difference between truth and fiction. Back home, Asa still seemed downcast. He sat on the sofa, silently drinking alone. I walked over and took the glass from his hand. Stop drinking. It's bad for you. He looked up at me, his dark eyes churning with emotions I couldn't decipher. Grace, marry me. Have you suffered a lot? A flicker of recognition crossed my mind, yet my face remained perfectly blank. No, why would you ask that? He chuckled wryly. I know better than anyone what my mom and sister are like. They must have given you a hard time back then, right? I fell silent. That much was true. Ever since I started dating Asa, Elma, and Kitty never gave me a moment's peace. They looked down on me for being poor, for my humble background, convinced I wasn't good enough for their exceptional son/brother. Their snide remarks and constant nitpicking became a daily occurrence. Once, Elma even threw a wad of cash in my face right in front of me, demanding I leave Asa. If not for the ultimate goal, I wouldn't have endured a single day. Seeing me silent, the guilt in Asa's eyes deepened. He gripped my hand so tightly it felt like he was crushing my bones. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I thought if we truly loved each other, none of this would matter. But I forgot, my family would hurt you. I took his hand in mine and soothed him softly. It's okay, it's all over now. No, it's not over, he insisted, his gaze fixed on me. Starting today, I won't let anyone bully you again. His eyes burned with such intensity that it made my heart flutter. I casually withdrew my hand and poured him a glass of warm water. There, now. Stop overthinking it. Oh, right, honey. There's something I'd like to discuss with you. I decided to take the initiative. Go ahead. I was wondering, should we sign a prenuptial agreement? I chose my words carefully. It's not that I want your money, I just think it would give you more security. After all, you're so wealthy, what if? Before I could finish, Asa cut me off. His expression darkened instantly. Grace, what do you mean? Do you think I'm the kind of person who measures feelings with money? Or is it that you simply don't trust me at all? His question caught me off guard. This reaction was completely different from what I had anticipated. According to the usual script, shouldn't he be utterly moved by my always thinking of him gesture, then sign over half his assets to me? That's not what I meant. I hurriedly explained. Then what are you implying? He pressed, closing in on her. Are you suggesting that by giving you an apartment and a car, I'm keeping you as a kept woman? Are you implying that our relationship can be bought and sold with money? His voice grew colder and colder, his gaze sharp as a knife, cutting deep into my soul. Alarm bells rang in my heart. Something was terribly wrong. Asa was not right. He was no longer the simple, kind, even somewhat naive poor boy I remembered. His gaze, his aura, both felt unfamiliar and frightening to me. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. Honey, you misunderstood me. I slipped back into that pitiful expression, my eyes reddening. I was just scared. You suddenly became so wealthy, and I feel insecure. I'm afraid one day you'll leave me. I'm afraid money will create a barrier between us. I just wanted to show you this way that I don't love your money, I love you. I almost believed my own words. Asa stared at me for so long my expression nearly froze. Then he suddenly smiled. He pulled me into his arms and held me tight. Silly girl, what are you thinking about? His voice returned to its usual tenderness. I've told you before, what's mine is yours. No agreement needed. To put your mind at ease, I'll have my lawyer transfer half the company shares to your name tomorrow. How does that sound? I froze in his embrace, my mind going blank. Half the shares? This is far more than I ever imagined. So much so that it feels unreal. Happiness arriving so suddenly instead fills me with a strange unease. I lift my gaze, hoping to read something in his face. But he only smiles gently, his eyes brimming with affection. What's wrong? Not happy? No. I murmured. I'm just so surprised. He tickled my nose. There'll be more surprises to come. After speaking, he kissed me. This kiss carried a hint of forceful dominance and possessiveness that brooked no refusal. I closed my eyes, forced to endure it. Yet the uneasy feeling within me only grew stronger. The next day, Asa really did have his lawyer deliver the share transfer agreement. There it was in black and white, with my signature on it, stating that 30% of Jian Group's shares now belonged to me. Staring at that document, I felt like I was dreaming. I had succeeded. I became a true heiress of a wealthy family. I no longer had to worry about money or kowtow to others. I could finally hold my head high. I shared this good news with my parents immediately. On the other end of the line, my mother was so flustered she could barely form coherent sentences. "Grace, are you telling me the truth? Asa, he really is the richest man's son?" "Mom, keep your voice down," I said helplessly. "Oh my goodness, I just got so excited." My mom was laughing so hard she couldn't stop on the other end. My daughter is so blessed. I always knew Asa wasn't just any ordinary guy. I forced a smile. Who was it who said Asa was a loser and told me to dump him right away? After hanging up, I gazed at my radiant reflection in the mirror, feeling utterly elated. When Asa returned that evening, he brought me a gift, a delicate velvet box. Opening it, I found a dazzling diamond necklace. "Do you like it?" "Mm." I nodded, letting him slip it onto my finger. The cool diamond pressed against my skin, yet sent a wave of heat through me. "Honey, you're so good to me." I watched him in the mirror, my smile sweet and tender. He smiled back, his eyes holding a hint of something deeper. "You're my wife, who else would I be kind to?" He paused, then added, "By the way, I have an important business cocktail party next week. You'll accompany me, won't you?" "Sure." I agreed without hesitation. This would be my first official appearance as Mrs. Asa. I had to be perfect. At the cocktail party, I appeared before the crowd wearing a bespoke haute couture gown Asa had tailored for me, my arm linked through his. Instantly, all the flashbulbs turned toward us. I stood tall, a poised smile on my face, relishing the feeling of being the center of attention. Asa introduced me to his business associates. "This is my wife, Grace." Those bigwigs I usually only saw in financial magazines raised their glasses to me, politely addressing me as Mrs. Asa. My vanity was thoroughly satisfied. After 3 rounds of drinks, I excused myself to the restroom, temporarily leaving the noisy gathering. While touching up my makeup, I overheard whispers from the next stall. "That Grace, have you heard? She's just an ordinary girl from a regular family." "Seriously? How could Asa possibly be interested in her?" "Who knows? I heard she used to be dirt poor, but somehow she charmed Asa into falling head over heels for her. My guess is he just fell for her looks. Once Asa gets bored of her, she'll be in for a world of hurt." "Exactly. Just look at Asa's ex-girlfriend, that by-family heiress. She's a cautionary tale, isn't she?" "The by-family heiress? Rose?" My heart skipped a beat. That name, I'd heard it before. It had come up once during my investigation into Asa. Rumor has it she was Asa's childhood sweetheart and the only girlfriend he ever publicly acknowledged. Everyone assumed they would marry. But then, for reasons unknown, they broke up. Rose subsequently vanished from the public eye. I always thought this was just another ordinary love triangle among the wealthy. But judging by the tone of their conversation, there seems to be more to the story. Just as I was about to listen in further, the cubicle door slid open. Several women spotted me, their expressions shifting abruptly. They offered awkward smiles before hurrying away. I stared at my reflection in the mirror, my smile feeling stiff. An ominous foreboding washed over me once more. Returning to the venue, I found Asa talking to a man. He stood with his back to me, his posture straight and his bearing extraordinary. I walked over, and Asa saw me, immediately ending his conversation. "You're back?" He naturally wrapped his arm around me. "Mm." I looked at the man, who just happened to turn his head at that moment. The instant our eyes met, we both froze. It was him. Sandy. My ex-boyfriend. He was also my partner in this husband-hunting scheme. Back then, he was the one who gave me the first lead on Asa. After we broke up, we never kept in touch. I never imagined we'd meet again here. "Long time no see," Sandy broke the silence first, extending her hand toward me. His gaze was complex, surprise, curiosity, and a hint of emotion I couldn't quite read. I stiffly extended my hand and shook his. Long time no see. Asa watched us, raising an eyebrow. You two know each other? I tried to make my tone sound natural, college alumni. I couldn't bring myself to tell the truth. I was afraid Asa would read too much into it. Sandy smiled, not calling me out. What a small world, Grace. Congratulations. His congratulations carried a weight of meaning. I gave a nervous chuckle. Asa, Sandy, you two keep chatting. I'll just step over there for a moment. I made up an excuse and made a hasty retreat. I could feel Sandy's gaze piercing my back like needles. I hid in the corner, downing glass after glass of champagne, trying to calm myself. Why was Sandy here? What was his relationship with Asa? Would he tell Asa about our past? A barrage of questions swirled in my mind. Could everything I'd meticulously planned be ruined by his sudden appearance? The more I thought about it, the more anxious I grew. I pulled out my phone, intending to text Sandy and demand to know what he was up to. Just then, an encrypted message popped up. This was sent by the mole I planted inside Asa's company specifically to investigate him. I opened the message, just one short sentence: target shows signs of trouble. Investigate Rose immediately. Rose. Rose again. I clenched my phone tightly, an unprecedented sense of crisis enveloping me entirely. I felt as though I'd been ensnared in a vast net. And Asa, he was the one who wove it. I'd always believed I was the hunter, but now it seemed I might be the true prey. I snapped my head up, scanning the crowd for Asa. He was standing not far away, chatting and laughing with Sandy. He seemed to sense my gaze, looked over in my direction, raised his glass, and gave me a gentle smile. Under the dazzling lights, his smile was handsome and captivating. I felt a chill run through my body. After the cocktail party, I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling. Asa seemed to notice something was off. What's wrong? Not feeling well? He asked with concern. No, just a little tired, I managed a forced smile. Back home, I made an excuse to take a shower and locked myself in the bathroom. I unlocked my phone and began frantically searching for any information about Rose. But online resources about her were painfully scarce. Beyond a few blurry old photos and some reports about her and Asa once being the golden couple, I couldn't find any other valuable clues. She vanished without a trace. How could a once celebrated heiress to a wealthy family disappear so completely? Unless someone deliberately erased every trace of her existence. The thought sent a chill down my spine. I dared not dwell on it further. I deleted all my search history and stepped out of the bathroom. Asa was sitting on the edge of the bed waiting for me. He had already changed into his pajamas, holding a book in his hand with an intense look on his face. Seeing me come out, he put down the book and beckoned to me. Come here. I walked over, and he pulled me into his arms. Who was that man at the cocktail party today? He asked, feigning nonchalance. My heart skipped a beat. I told you, just a college alumnus. Just an alumnus? He stared into my eyes, as if trying to see straight into my soul. And also my ex-boyfriend. I hesitated, but decided to be honest. Better to come clean than let him find out on his own. After all, Sandy and I were long over. To my surprise, Asa didn't get angry like I'd feared. He paused for a moment, then smiled. So that's how it is. His reaction was unnaturally calm. You're not angry? I asked tentatively. Angry? He raised an eyebrow. Why would I be angry? Who doesn't have a past? The more he said this, the more uneasy I felt inside. But... He shifted his tone, his gaze turning slightly dangerous. I hope that's all in the past. Of course, I assured him immediately. He smiled with satisfaction, leaning down to kiss my hair. Sleep now. I lay beside him, yet sleep eluded me. I could sense the man beside me, like a beast lying in wait. He seemed gentle, yet could bare his deadly claws at any moment. I must find out what happened to Rose as soon as possible. Then there was Sandy. His sudden appearance was no coincidence. I needed to see him. The next day, while Asa was at the office, I secretly contacted Sandy. We arranged to meet at a quiet cafe. Sandy arrived before me. He was his usual self, tailored suit, gold-rimmed glasses, the epitome of a suave scoundrel. "What do you want?" He cut straight to the point. "What's your relationship with Asa?" I stared him down. "Business partners," he shrugged it off. "Just business partners?" I didn't buy it. Sandy smiled, her eyes behind the glasses flashing with shrewdness. "Grace, we're already broken up. My business doesn't seem to require reporting to you, does it?" "You?" I was momentarily speechless. "What exactly are you trying to do?" I lowered my voice. "Are you planning to tell Asa about our past?" "Tell him what?" Sandy retorted. "Tell him how much effort you put into getting close to him? Or tell him it was me who planned everything for you back then?" My face instantly drained of color. "You dare? What's there to be afraid of?" Sandy leaned back in his chair, watching me with a calm, composed expression. "But don't worry, I'm not ready to expose you just yet. After all, watching you put on this act is rather entertaining." His words poured over me like a bucket of cold water. "Sandy, what exactly do you want?" I was practically begging. "Nothing," he said, his smile fading into a serious expression. "I'm just here to remind you that Asa is far more complicated than you realize." "What do you mean?" "Rose, do you remember?" My heart clenched. "What happened to her?" Sandy didn't answer me directly but instead brought up something unrelated. "Did you know? Asa's father was swindled out of his entire fortune by a woman who married him for money, and in the end, he jumped to his death." I was stunned. I had never heard of this before. "Ever since then, Asa developed a deep hatred for women who'd do anything for money," Sandy said, looking at me intently, enunciating each word. "He's been searching for a woman exactly like the one his father encountered all those years ago." My mind went blank with a buzzing sensation. "I think I understand now. What does he want?" My voice trembled. "Revenge." Sandy spat out the two words like two ice-hardened blades, stabbing deep into my heart. "He'll make you fall for him, make you think you've got the whole world, then piece by piece, he'll destroy everything you have. Just like that woman did to his father all those years ago. Rose, she was the first test subject. She's locked up in a mental hospital now, completely insane." My blood froze in my veins. I stared at Sandy, my lips trembling, unable to utter a single word. So this was the truth. Love at first sight? The idea that I'm the only one for him? It's all a lie. From the very beginning, I was the prey he chose. He wasn't testing me, he was luring me in, drawing me into the trap he'd meticulously crafted. I thought I was the director, but little did I know I was merely a pitiable actor in his grand revenge play. All my scheming, all my careful planning, to him, it was nothing but a laughable farce. I won the whole world, yet I lost everything. I don't know how I left the cafe. Walking down the crowded street, I felt like the whole world was spinning. The sunlight was blinding, yet I felt not a shred of warmth. I'm done for. I'm completely done for. I returned to that gilded cage. The servants greeted me respectfully, but I seemed not to hear them. In a daze, I climbed the stairs and flung myself onto the plush bed. The crystal chandelier on the ceiling cast a cold, glistening light. My eyes wide open, Sandy's words replayed over and over in my mind. Rose went mad. Next would be me. No. I couldn't just sit back and wait for it. I, Grace, was never a lamb to be led to slaughter. I scrambled out of bed, rushed into the study, and turned on Asa's computer. It was password protected. I tried Asa's birthday, wrong. Tried our wedding anniversary, wrong. Taking a deep breath, I tremblingly typed in Rose's birthday. The computer beeped and unlocked. My heart instantly plummeted to the depths. I frantically searched through my computer, hoping to find something useful. Finally, inside an encrypted folder, I spotted a video. Its title read, "My Canary." I clicked on the video. The screen showed a lavishly decorated room. A woman in a white hospital gown was curled up in the corner. Her hair was disheveled, her eyes vacant, and she was muttering something under her breath. It was Rose. Asa's voice came through the video, eerily gentle. "Rose, look, I found you a companion. Her name is Grace. She's just like you, equally gold-digging, equally scheming. Guess how long she'll last by my side? A month? 2 months? Don't rush, the game has only just begun. When I've had my fill of playing with her, I'll send her over to keep you company. How about that?" The video abruptly ended there. My whole body went cold, as if I'd fallen into an ice cave. So he'd known everything about me all along. He'd been watching my performance, treating me like a mere clown. A wave of overwhelming fear and rage washed over me. I wanted to flee. Immediately, right now. I bolted from the study, yanked open the wardrobe, and reached for my passport and bank cards. But the wardrobe was empty. My bag, my documents, my cards, all gone. Just then, my phone rang. It was Asa. Seeing the word husband flash on the screen felt incredibly ironic. My hands trembling, I pressed the answer button. "Hello. Honey, what are you doing?" Asa's voice on the other end was as gentle as ever. I don't have anything." "Is that so?" He chuckled softly. "My computer, is it fun?" I was struck as if by lightning. My phone clattered to the floor. He knew. He knew everything. "Don't even think about running." His voice turned icy cold, like Satan himself from hell. "This house is full of cameras. I know your every move. Forgot to tell you, Sandy works for me too. Your meeting today was quite the show." I slumped to the floor, drained of all strength. I lost. Lost completely. "Grace, the game isn't over yet. The surprise I prepared for you is still to come. Enjoy it, my canary." The phone went dead. Dead silence filled the room. I watched as the sky darkened outside the window. That multi-million-dollar mansion was no longer paradise, but a hell I couldn't escape. I had become Ace's caged canary. He didn't restrict my freedom, but I knew every move I made was under his watchful eye. The servants at home looked at me with pity and sympathy in their eyes. Elma and Kitty, however, were quite pleased. They visited me more and more often, each time finding new ways to humiliate me. "Grace, how come you've lost so much weight? Is it because my brother isn't satisfying you?" Kitty covered her mouth, laughing so hard she was shaking. Elma then offered me some insincere advice. "Grace, don't blame Asa. It's your own fault for being so loose and still flirting with your ex-boyfriend. You're bringing shame upon our family." I listened expressionless, unable to utter a word. Resist? It's useless. I've tried. I smashed everything in the room, trying to vent my rage that way. In the end, Asa simply sent people to redecorate the room. Everything was replaced with colors and styles I disliked the most. He even hired a psychologist to come and treat me at fixed times every day. That doctor always looked at me with pity in his eyes, then told me I had severe delusions. He said Asa loved me deeply, that it was all in my head, I was mistaking his love for imprisonment. Everyone said I was crazy. Even I can barely tell what's real and what's fake anymore. Asa comes home every night. He holds me like he used to, gently calling me wife. He tells me funny stories from work and reads me my favorite tales. Then, he'd whisper the cruelest words in my ear with the gentlest voice. "Baby, you've been secretly contacting people outside again today. That janitor who passed messages for you, I've already fired him. If you don't behave yourself, I can't say who'll be next to suffer." His hand would gently caress my face, yet his gaze was as cold as ice. "Tell me," he'd say, "if I brought your parents here to see you like this, wouldn't they be delighted?" I shuddered, staring at him in terror. "No, don't. Then be a good girl." He smiled with satisfaction. "Wouldn't it be nice to be an obedient little canary?" I closed my eyes, tears of despair streaming down my face. I couldn't drag my parents down with me. I had no choice but to submit. I began playing the part of a compliant patient. I took my medication on schedule and cooperated fully with treatment. I followed Ace's every word without question, whatever he said went. My condition seemed to improve day by day. I had reverted to being the gentle, submissive Grace. Asa seemed quite pleased with my performance. He began taking me to less important events. He said it was to expose me to people outside our circle, which would aid my recovery. I knew he was just eager to show off his trophy to everyone. "Look, that's the woman who once tried to scheme against me. Now, I've trained her to be so well behaved." At a charity dinner, I saw Sandy again. He was still dressed to the nines. He walked up to me and raised his glass. "Mrs. Asa, it's been a while. You look well." I stared at him, my eyes vacant. Asa wrapped his arm around my waist as if to stake his claim. "My wife hasn't been well and has been resting at home. It's rare for her to come out today." "Is that so?" Sandy chuckled. "Then Asa had better take good care of Mrs. Asa." His gaze lingered on me for a moment before he turned and walked away. Just as he turned, I caught sight of his hand in his pocket making a gesture I knew all too well. That was the code we agreed upon back when we were still working together. It meant, plans have changed, wait for the right moment. My heart began to race instantly. Sandy, had he betrayed me? That thought struck like lightning, piercing through my darkened world. I snapped my head up and looked at Asa. He was chatting and laughing with others, oblivious to my unease. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. I couldn't show any sign of being off. I didn't know what Sandy was really up to, but I knew this was my only chance. I had to seize it. From that day on, I began to play the part of a patient in love with her abuser even more earnestly. I would give Asa a warm embrace whenever he came home. I'd bring him a cup of hot tea while he worked. I'd flash just the right amount of jealousy when he told me stories about Rose. "Honey, are you still thinking about her?" Asa seemed to relish this new side of me. He would pinch my chin, forcing me to look at him. "What? Jealous?" "No." I lowered my head, speaking with hurt. "You'd better not be." He sneered coldly. "Just remember, you're only her substitute." A disposable substitute. My heart ached as if pierced by needles. But I knew I had to endure. To survive, to escape this hell. I began quietly gathering evidence of Ace's crimes. The videos in his study were the best proof. But I had no way to get them. His computer had a more complex password set up, and he seemed to have installed some kind of tracking device on me. The moment I approached the study, he would immediately receive an alert. I had to find another way. The opportunity came soon enough. Ace's company is hosting a grand anniversary celebration. All the business luminaries will be in attendance. Asa will be there too. This is my perfect opportunity to strike. The day before the celebration, I accidentally shattered Ace's favorite antique vase. He flew into a rage and locked me in the basement. "Stay here and think about what you've done," he shouted. "You'll come out when you've learned your lesson." With that, he slammed the door behind him. The basement was pitch black, cold, and damp. I hugged my knees, huddled in the corner, trembling all over. But I wasn't afraid. Because I knew all of this was part of my plan. I wanted to provoke him into locking me up. Because only then could I escape his surveillance. I pulled a miniature listening device from my pocket. Sandy had slipped it to me during our brief brush past each other at the last dinner party. I attached the device to the basement vent, which connected to the central air conditioning system throughout the entire villa. As long as Asa spoke inside the villa, I could hear every word clearly. I was waiting. Waiting for an opportunity. On the day of the celebration, Asa left early in the morning. Only a few servants and bodyguards remained in the villa. Around noon, I heard the voices of Elma and Kitty. "They're here to deliver my meal." "Grace, my brother told me to warn you, you won't be leaving until the celebration's over," Kitty said with glee. "Just stay right here and enjoy your quality time." She slammed the lunchbox onto the ground, then walked away laughing with Elma. I paid them no mind. All my attention was focused on the sounds coming through the listening device. That afternoon, I overheard Asa talking to a man. It was his personal lawyer. "Asa, are you truly resolved to proceed?" The lawyer's tone carried a hint of hesitation. "Once that share transfer agreement takes effect, Miss Grace will hold 30% of the company's shares." "That's no small stake," Asa replied with a cold laugh. "You think I'd actually give her the shares?" "That agreement was fake from the start. I just wanted her to believe she'd won. To let her soar to the highest point, only to crash down hard. That feeling must be absolutely exquisite." Hearing this, I clenched my fists. So he'd had ulterior motives from the very start. But, if Miss Grace discovers the agreement is fake, might she? "She won't get the chance to find out," Asa cut him off. "Once the celebration ends, I'll send her to Rose. When the time comes, whether she lives or dies, isn't that entirely up to me?" The lawyer fell silent. "All right, take care of this document." Asa's voice sounded again. "Remember, leave no trace." "Yes, Asa." I heard the door close. I knew that document was the evidence of Asa's forged share agreement. I had to get it. With every ounce of strength, I slammed open the basement door. The alarm blared instantly. Bodyguards surged in from all directions. "Get her." I ignored them and raced toward the study. The study door was locked from the inside. I pulled a hairpin from my hair and, using lockpicking techniques I'd learned long ago, picked the lock in just a few tries. I rushed to the spot where the lawyer had been sitting and found the document he'd accidentally left behind in the sofa crevice. I opened it and scanned through it quickly. Yes, it was the one. Just then, the bodyguards burst in. They snatched the documents from my hands and pinned me to the ground. I struggled and screamed, "Let me go. This is illegal detention." But no one paid me any attention. They dragged me back to the basement and tied me up with ropes. My heart sank, bit by bit. I had failed. All my efforts had been for nothing. That evening, Asa returned. He kicked open the basement door and looked down at me from above. A mad grin played on his face. "Grace, you've really given me a surprise." He held the document I'd worked so hard to obtain. He walked up to me, crouched down, and tapped my face with it. "You think getting this means you've beaten me? Naive." He stood up and tossed the document into the fireplace right before my eyes. The flames shot up instantly, devouring the document. They also consumed my last shred of hope. "Game over," he signaled to his bodyguards. "Get her in the car and take her to the hospital." 2 bodyguards approached, hoisted me up, and dragged me out. I closed my eyes in despair. Just as I thought it was all over, the villa's front door was suddenly kicked open. A group of uniformed police officers stormed in. Leading them was none other than Sandy. Dressed in his police uniform, he looked dashing and sharp, his eyes piercing. "Asa, you're under arrest. The charges are unlawful imprisonment, intentional assault, and commercial fraud." Asa froze. He stared at Sandy in disbelief. You're not. I'm not your lackey, am I?" Sandy sneered. "I'm a cop. I've been undercover investigating you." He walked up to me and personally untied the ropes. "Grace, you've been through a lot." I looked at him, tears welling up until they spilled over. "How could you? Why did you wait until now?" "I'm sorry. I needed to gather enough evidence, so you had to wait a few more days." He helped me up as I stood. I looked at Asa. He was already pinned to the ground by 2 police officers, handcuffs clamped around his wrists. He glared at me with eyes brimming with venom and resentment. "Grace! You bitch! I won't let you off the hook." I stared at him coldly, speaking slowly and deliberately. "Asa, the game is over. You lost." Elma and Kitty were also taken away by the police. Suspected of harboring and abusing, they now face the consequences of the law. I followed Sandy out of that suffocating villa. The air outside felt fresher than ever before. The sun warmed my skin. I survived. I was free. Asa's case sent shockwaves throughout the entire city of Haicheng. His crimes, forging shareholding agreements, illegal confinement, and abuse of women, were exposed one by one. Rose's family also came forward to denounce Asa's atrocities. It turned out that Rose hadn't left voluntarily all those years ago. She'd been forcibly committed to a mental institution by Asa. Jiang Group's stock plummeted. The Jiang family was utterly finished. As the most crucial witness in this case, I've also become the focus of media attention. Some sympathize with my plight, calling me a brave fighter. Others have dug up my past, claiming I'm no saint myself and that I brought this upon myself. I don't care. I just want to start a new life. Sandy handled a lot of the follow-up for me. He found me the best lawyer and helped me file for a restraining order. He even got back the multi-million-dollar mansion Asa had once promised me. "You deserve it," he said. I looked at him, my heart filled with mixed emotions. "Why, did you help me? Aren't we over?" Sandy paused, pushing his glasses up. "Consider it, making amends. Back then, I was the one who dragged you into this mess." "I never imagined Asa would be so utterly ruthless," I said with a bitter smile. "It's not your fault, I was blinded by greed. If I hadn't harbored ill intentions from the start, I wouldn't have ended up like this." "What are your plans now?" he asked. "I don't know," I shook my head. "We'll just have to take it one step at a time." I felt utterly lost about the future. Sandy looked at me, a flicker of pity in her eyes. "Grace, if you're willing, we could." I cut him off. "Sandy, we can't go back. After everything we'd been through, I was no longer the Grace who'd once dreamed only of marrying into wealth. And he wasn't the Sandy who could fight alongside me anymore. Too much stood between us now." He seemed to understand what I meant and said no more. "I'll drive you home." "All right." I sold that mansion. With the proceeds, I established a foundation dedicated to providing legal and psychological support for women like Rose who suffer from domestic violence and unlawful confinement. I hope they can emerge from the shadows soon and start their lives anew. I also visited Rose at the hospital. Her condition is better than I had imagined. With professional treatment, her mental state is gradually recovering. When she saw me, she was very calm. We didn't say much, just sat quietly for a while. As she was leaving, she said to me, "Thank you." I said to her, "Thank you. Thank you for helping me see reality clearly. And thank you for helping me find a new direction. My life has gradually gotten back on track. I'm busy every day, busy with foundation matters, busy helping those in need." I haven't seen Sandy since. I heard he was promoted for his outstanding contribution this time. I'm happy for him. One day, I received an anonymous package. Inside was a bank card and a letter. The letter was handwritten, the handwriting very familiar. "Grace, I'm sorry. I know these 3 words can't make up for the pain I've caused you. The money in this card is all my savings. I hope it can be of some help to your foundation. Wishing you all the best in the future." Sandy. I stared at the card, speechless for a long time. Then, I locked it away, along with the letter, in the deepest part of the drawer. Some people, some things, once they're gone, let them stay gone. A year later. My foundation has already helped hundreds of women. Many of them, like me, have found new life. Seeing the smiles return to their faces, I feel my own life has been filled with meaning. That day, I was processing documents in my office when my assistant knocked and entered. "Grace, there's a gentleman here to see you." My heart skipped a beat. I walked to the window and saw a black sedan parked below. Standing beside it was a familiar figure. It was Asa. He had grown much thinner and looked far more haggard. Dressed in plain clothes, he no longer possessed his former spirited vigor. He seemed to spot me too, lifting his head to look in my direction. Our eyes met across the vast distance. I have no idea why he came looking for me. Is it to get revenge? Or to beg for mercy? It doesn't matter anymore. I drew the curtains and told my assistant, "Tell him I don't want to see him." "Yes, ma'am." I sat back down at my desk and continued working through my documents. Sunlight streams through the window, bathing me in warmth and brightness. A new chapter has begun in my life. Asa is merely a name crossed off the previous page. From now on, we have nothing to do with each other.